What's up, everybody? Good morning, Sunday NFL action. Oh, man, am I mad we're not playing today. Talking about the Eagles. I'm D. Gleck, at Gleck here for the Heat Ratio Sports. Look, first take at this is BS. NFL said we're not moving for anybody. We're not changing. And then you get a couple cases, and it's all about the money. It's all about the fantasy playoffs. And that's why they flipped games here to make sure they were played. And that's why the Eagles are now at a disadvantage. But, hey, the game goes on. And today we have 9 great Sunday games for you to play in your daily fantasy sports. I'm on DraftKings, so most of my values here that I speak to are coming from that site. I think there's a lot of great values, obviously, with the COVID situation going on and a lot of other, weird circumstances as far as coaches getting fired midweek. Create a different perspective on games this week. So as we get into it here, I'm going to give you my favorite plays. As we did last week, Tony and I brought it to you. I'm solo now, but I'm sure we'll have more action in these upcoming weeks. Hope you can use these to maybe even win a little money today. We are the DFS smoke here, and here go the quarterback plays. Look, everybody's going to be shooting at Kyler Murray, and I like him. I really do, and Aaron Rodgers, good play too. But if I want to build my lineup and I want to have balance throughout, I'm going to go a little deeper in the quarterbacks this week. I'm going to go with Tua Tagovailoa, and he is playing the New York Jets, and as we know, the Jets are bad. Tua actually got a chance to play them coming off injury 3 weeks ago in Week 11 and hung 18 fantasy points against them. So a very solid day. He's been averaging just about 250 yards and 2 pass TDs over the past 3 weeks. And you're going up against a Jets team that ranks 12th in fantasy points against QBs, but most importantly, they're second of the teams available today. So Tua draws that great matchup. The only concern here is how much do they go to the ground? Myles Gaskin got 23 carries last time the teams played, so it'll be interesting to see how they mix it in. But the good thing here, the Dolphins are one of the most pass-heavy teams in the league, on 64% to 36% pass run ratio. So you know he's going to wing it. Waddle's out, but I still think he has a lot of other people that he can focus on, and we'll talk about them coming up. Also, I would really look at Trevor Lawrence. No, it sounds crazy. He's terrible. He hasn't thrown multi-TDs in any game this year except Week 1. Week 1 was against the Houston Texans. What's today? Week 15 against the Houston Texans. Why not? 5,100. He's lower than Mike Glennon. And then you get that interesting circumstance of now maybe they can play a little freer. You got Urban gone, and maybe he was holding something over them. And I feel like today they're just going to play a little bit better. Do they win? Maybe. I mean, they're obviously favored by 3, 4.5 in some spots, opened at 3. But I really think Trevor gets to get loose a little bit today. And I think he puts up a decent fantasy day. Last time he played the Houston Texans, 25 fantasy points. That was the most. I know he threw a few picks that day as well, but he had 3 TDs that day. Houston's terrible against the pass, terrible against the run too. But I think you get value with Trevor here, and he'll be low owned. So think about Trevor, as crazy as it sounds. All right, let's go on the running backs. Really focusing on 2 right in the mid-salary range. Najee's at the top of the list. Should have a good day against Tennessee, but I'm going to try and buy in that range of, we talked about Gaskin earlier, getting 23 carries. That's unusual for the Dolphins, so I'm not going to trust that they're going to go back to that well. I'm going to go with James Conner against the Detroit Lions. 3rd worst against running backs when allowing fantasy points. We know Detroit's a sieve. Conner had a huge game the other night. He actually had 9 catches for 91 yards. So go on top of his 2 rushing touchdowns. I think they give it to him today, right? DeAndre Hopkins is out. They'll focus some in the pass game, but I think, a good play here is James Conner. And, good value too, 6,400. Also look at James Robinson. We talked about the Jags earlier. Another reason Trevor's been asking for James Robinson to play, been asking for him to get more action. He's only getting 12 carries per game. That goes way up today. He's getting 3.3 targets a game. I think that goes up too. I think we're in the range of 20 touches. And if I'm getting 20 touches under 6,000, and I'm getting against the Houston Texans, who allow the 5th most points to running backs, I'm taking James Robinson in a lot of lineups. I know people will too, but I think he's one that you really do have to staple in there. All right, let's look at receivers real fast here. Receivers, I'm topping off at Deontay Johnson, 7,500 in DraftKings. It's a winner-go-home game for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we see he gets the most targets from Ben Roethlisberger. Ben can't throw 6 yards past the line of scrimmage. At least that's his average, and it's the worst of his career. Deontay's there for those short screens, the bubbles, the quick slants. He's his just favorite target. And when he does let one loose long, it's Deontay. Claypool's really not going to show out in that sense, and James Washington's even a little smaller and not as fast as Deontay. So Deontay gets the low looks, the intermediates, and the longs. And then he's facing a Titans team today that allows the third most points to wide receivers. I do like the volume he's going to see today. I think he's well worth the price at 7,500. I also like Debo. Debo at 8,200. The Niners are just starting to rip it. And Jimmy's getting into one of those comfort zones. And Debo also gets those carries. He's averaging over 2 carries a game. So he's going to see upwards of 10-plus touches. I think if Atlanta does anything today, they try and take Kittle a little bit out of it. Kittle's been amazing, averaging 40 fantasy points the past 2 weeks. I think this is the week that Debo takes a little bit of that back and has a big week against the Atlanta Falcons, who are relying the 9th most points against wide receivers in the NFL, fantasy-wise. And then look down the list. Look at Devonte Parker. We talked about Tua earlier. No Jalen Waddle. Devontae's sitting there at $4,300. Really nice price point. He's averaging 8 targets a game of late and 13 yards per reception. If he can get those 8 targets against the New York Jets and get roughly 6 of those, he pulls in at 13, you're looking at 78, 80 yards plus possibly a touchdown. He's sitting nicely in that middle double digits range. For 4,300, he would give you a nice return on investment. Lastly, tight end. Tight end is tough. I'm actually punting a little bit on tight end. I do like Gesicki at the 5,000 range. I like CJ Uzomah a little bit at the 3,100. He's got 6 targets per game the last 2 weeks. I do think since he will have to throw the ball today. And then Brevin Jordan, guy at 2,900, did catch a touchdown last week before targets. So, if I'm going to punt, I'm looking in that range at the Brevin, CJ. If I can have a little salary left, I will look at Gesicki, who put up a big game against the Jets just 3 weeks ago. So that kind of wraps it up for a quick mini session of NFL DFS, where our thoughts are. I hope to be back next Sunday where we talk Week 16, looking at a lot of interesting things as the playoff pushes keep getting hotter and hotter. But till then, we are the Heat Ratio. I'm D Glack, as some people like to call me. Don't forget the shades. I'll see you next week. Good luck to you today. Hope you win some of that money. Peace.